How you doing, everybody? Welcome to Shooting the Breeze. My name is Breeze. This is my first episode. This is unscripted, no script, no nothing. This is me talking. So if you hear stuttering, if you hear fumbling, if you hear anything, that's all natural. It's no script to nothing. And basically, this show came about because all my life I've been a firm seeker of what life is about, who God is, and questions like that. I had questions like that about life. And I will always look around to people to find these answers. And basically nobody could never teach me. Went to pastors, ministers, people like that, because this is who you would think would have the answers to questions about God, because after all, they pose themselves to be mediators for God. So these are the people I went to, and at the end of the day, I never got a satisfactory answer. So during my life, basically, I found myself feeling empty, and I found the yearning going on inside of my gut, you know what I'm saying? Just had me thirsty for knowledge. So I would pray, and I guess the prayers was answered. To make a, you know what I'm saying, some type of sense out of it, I don't know, because things just started to happen, and it was like life just started to put me in situations where I could understand life a little bit more. And even though the situations may have not been the best situations, a lot of people in society would consider them probably the worst situations. It was out of these worst situations where I got my best clarity. So with that being said, this is how this show came about. And one thing I realized in life that was holding me up and holding me up from understanding what life was about or who God was about was my perception of life and my perception of religion and my perception of God, period. And it wasn't until, I actually had a chance to sit down and read for myself that I really got a clarity and understanding on who God actually was and what God was actually about, or who God is actually about, what he was trying to do. So I want to just share that information with y'all because I found myself, and I know I'm bouncing around a lot. Like I said, this is unscripted, but I found myself, after I got this information, trying to hold it in. And when I tried to hold it in, things just didn't work out for me. I tried to live a regular life. I tried to, get a job and just, carry on like I didn't have this information. You know what I'm saying? And I found myself in a worse situation than really I began in. And I know why. It's like the story of Jonah for all you people that ever read the Bible. It's like when he told them to go to the city of Nineveh, and he decided to pay for a ride on a boat to go somewhere else. And God came along and flipped and tossed that boat and then threw him inside of a well. And the guys on the boat didn't know the reason, but Jonah knew exactly the reason, because he had that information, or he had that message that he needed to get to the people, and he refused to do it. And it wasn't until he came to the realization of that he needed to do what needed to be done. You know what I'm saying? That's when he came to that realization. That's when, he was released from the belly of the whale, you know what I'm saying? And given another chance, to do what he was supposed to do. So similar situation happened with me, you know what I'm saying? We can go into that at a later date, but for now we need to get, started with this. And basically, what it is, the topic basically is to show that God didn't come to establish a religion. You know what I'm saying? And this is where all of our perceptions get misconstrued at. It never came to establish a religion, but he came to establish a nation, you know. And this book right here, is the greatest example on how a nation should conduct itself. You know, point blank, period. Nothing more, nothing less. You know, and anybody, you know, could sit down and actually read this for themselves. And when you actually get that perception of read from that point of view, you know, it'll change your whole outlook on the story and your whole outlook on who God is. You know what I'm saying? And not only would it change your outlook on this book, but it'll change your outlook on today and what our society is about and where our society is going. You know, because this book for real is not just relevant for the past, but in actuality, it's like I said, it's a good example on how we could bring our nation together today, you know. And for me, well, it's not for me, period. We can go to Genesis 12 so we could see for yourself what this book is about. And this is Genesis 12:1, and it says, "Now the Lord said to Abram, go from your country and to your kindreds and your father's house to the land that I will show you, and I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great so that you will be a blessing," you know. "I will bless those who bless you, and in him who dishonors you I will curse. And in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed." You know what I'm saying? So right there is the beginning of your story, right there. As you can see, he didn't say, "Oh, Abraham or Abram, I'm going to come and make a great religion out of you." That's not the story. The story is, I'm going to make a great nation out of you. You know what I'm saying? And through you, all the nations of the earth shall be blessed. You know what I'm saying? Now we could go to the next page, you know what I'm saying? Which is Genesis, well, the next supporting fact, which is Genesis 17, you know what I'm saying? And it says, "When Abram was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to Abram and said, I am God Almighty. Walk before me and be blameless, that I may make a covenant with you." Now, those who don't know what a covenant is simply an agreement. That's all a covenant means. It sounds fancy in the book, but it's just agreement. And that's basically what we go by today in the United States of America when you study the law. You know what I'm saying? Contractual law, you know what I'm saying? Or covenants, you know what I'm saying? These are all agreements, you know what I'm saying? And this is, you know, just to show a little bit how law and this all ties in together. But anyway, he says, you know, "that I may make a covenant between me and you, and may multiply you greatly." Then Abram fell on his face and said to him, "Behold, my covenant is with you, and you shall be the father of a multitude of nations." You know what I'm saying? "No longer shall you be called Abram, but your name shall be Abraham, for I have made you the father of a multitude of nations. I will make you exceedingly fruitful, and I will make you into nations, and kings they shall come from you. And I will establish my covenant between me and you and your offsprings after you throughout their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be God to you and your offsprings after you. I will give you and your offsprings after you the land sojourning, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God." You know? So boom, right there is another place where you see, once again, the story is going into how he's establishing a nation with this man. You know what I'm saying? Not no religion, not no cult or anything like that, but simply a nation, you know? And then we could turn to Genesis 18. No, Genesis 18. Not there? Yeah. Genesis 18:17, you know? And this is when God was about to go into the nation of Sodom and Gomorrah, you know? And he said, the Lord said, "Shall I hide from Abraham what am I about to do? Seeing that Abraham shall surely be a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him." You know? "For I have chosen him that he may command his children and his household after him to keep the way of the Lord by doing righteousness and justice." so that the Lord may bring to Abraham what he has promised him. And once again, the promise is a nation, to make a nation out the man. That was the promise, you know. And even today or throughout history, you can see nations have been established and nations have been crumbled, you know what I'm saying? Due to the fact of, you know, the people, basically. The people and how they conducted themselves, you know? So, like I said, once again, this book right here is an example on how a nation should conduct itself, you know? And if we follow the examples of this book, you know, we ourselves, America, you know, and any other nation could be that great nation that, you know, everybody wants us to be, you know? But if we continue along the path of disunity, disharmony, everyone for themselves, no one paying attention to the laws, no one abiding by the laws, no one basically caring for their communities or things like this in this nature, you know what I'm saying, we gonna be doomed to cease as a nation, you know, and you know, I really wouldn't want to see that, you know, in my lifetime, like for real, like life, death, you know, but for my kids, I would want them to, you know, live in a better society than what I came up in. So, you know, this is why I feel as though the message, you know, needs to get out there, you know, and take it for what it's worth. Do your own study and do your own investigation, you know what I'm saying? Question, you know what I'm saying? Like it, dislike it, you know what I'm saying? Whatever you want to do, but let it activate something within your head, you know what I'm saying? And run with it, you know, and ponder upon it and let it stew, you know. I'm not saying I'm right, I'm not saying I'm wrong, I'm not saying nothing. The only thing I'm saying is that, you know, maybe it'll help us get better, you know, as a nation. So this is just the first, but it won't be the last video that I do. You know, I'm most definitely not scared of my opinion, you know what I'm saying? This is my opinion, you know, and that's just what it is, you know. So how you feel about my opinion, comment on it. Hit that subscribe button if you like it. Hit the subscribe button if you don't like it. Hit that subscribe button and tell me how you feel, because this is shooting the breeze, you know. You could say whatever you want to say, you know, and as we get along, go along into further videos or, you know, further dialogue, it's going to be more things. We're going to have phone calls, we're going to have guest speakers, or whoever or whatever, you know what I'm saying, or however you feel about life in itself, you know what I'm saying, but at the end of the day, you know, discussion needs to be started, you know what I'm saying, and tough situations or tough conversations like this, you know what I'm saying, needs to be had, you know, and you know, right now our representatives ain't having it. One thing they good at is pushing things off to a later date, you know, so it's up to us as a people and as a society to, you know, spark this up ourselves, you know. We don't need the representatives to do this for us, you know. At the end of the day, we do this, and then we have the representatives represent what we doing, you know. So that's it in a nutshell. Like I said, hit the subscribe. My name is Breeze. I can't wait to see your comments. I can't wait to see your concerns. Next show, we'll probably be talking about what it took for these nations to be, well, this nation of Israel to be established, you know what I'm saying, and what it took to hold this nation as a stronghold and establish it as a superpower of that time, you know. And we're also going to what the commandments is, you know, because I know a lot of people have a misperception on what that is, you know. So just to give you a little bit about that real quick, your 10 commandments could be compared to as today as your modern day constitution. You know what I'm saying? That was their constitution of that day, you know. But we'll get into all that in the next episode. For now, I hope everybody, you know, that's watching take this and you know, learn from it or ponder over it or whatever you do with it, you know. Whatever you do with it is totally up to you. But just do something with it. And that's it. That's all I could think about right now.